Happy Sunday! Welcome to Let's Talk About You Birthday Month Edition. Yes, all month long, I will be letting you know July, the best year in the month, is the best month of the year, is my birthday month. And today we're doing reflections with my phenomenal women that I know, co-producers Kiana and co-producer Crystal. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Come on in the room.
Hello, hello, hello.
Ooh.
Hello, hello, hello. Happy birthday month. Well, to me.
All right. Happy birthday
Happy birthday,
month.
man.
Yes, and happy
Thank you,
Sunday.
thank you. Thank you, ladies. Happy Sunday. We're going to have a great free-flowing conversation to talk about small communities, health fairs, and health awareness. I know that I'm on the journey to a better health to get it together. Been on this journey, slid back. Right now, I have backslid. But hey, what better month to start than now, my birth month? A reminder that life, how important life is, how important health is. Last week we spoke to Lorraine Lolo Milliner and Dr. Wally and Bullard about an upcoming health fair and their long life's work that they've been doing for the past 18 years and bringing awareness, health awareness to our community in St. Thomas. And 18 years is a long time to be doing a health fair. The ins and outs, the what's needed in the community and so forth. Well, at least you should. I mean, things change, but the more things change, the more they stay the same. And what's
Mhm.
constant is there's a need for health awareness. So, what are you guys' thoughts about not just the upcoming health fair that's happening here in the Virgin Islands, but health awareness in small communities? Because we're all island girls.
Yeah. I think generally for me, when I was young, and the older generation would tell you all the time that, when you hit your 40s or when you're coming up on 40, you're going to feel it in your body. You need to start taking care of your health. And yeah, we'll get to it. Yeah, we'll get to it. Well, surprise, surprise. In the next month, 2 months, then I'll be hitting 40. And the body can feel it. The body is bodying at the moment. And, just the I feel like in small communities or in the Caribbean, there's so much ancient, rub Vicks on it. Vaseline can fix everything. All these remedies were our traditional ways to take care of things. And there wasn't a heavy emphasis on, let's say, nutrition or, more vegan foods to help your digestive system. Everything was, and don't get me wrong, I think our parents may have eaten cleaner foods. That's why they could have eaten the ground provisions and everything and it would have been fine. But for our generation, the food quality wasn't the same. So while they can eat starches, rampantly, I don't feel like in my time that was the same thing. So this year, I started to kind of pay a little more attention to health and starting out just with simply drinking water and then kind of changing my diet a bit here and there because I never felt like I could do a radical change, at least not for me, but I could do something. So yeah, I feel like while in our small communities, nutritional education other than eating from the soil wasn't necessarily a part of, at least not my conversations, in my community, my family and everything else.
Mm.
What
I,
about you?
I was just gonna say, I think that that's really interesting, and also to add to what you were saying, Crystal, about um, the quality of the food. I also think that the older generations, my grandparents' generation, I would say, I feel like they were doing a lot more physical labor as part of their everyday life more. And I
Mhm.
feel like we're a lot more sedentary in our
That part.
jobs. So they needed those starches and those carbs to fuel them, to give them energy to move through the day, to work the grounds, to walk and
Mm.
whatever they had to do. So I do think that, a lot of our food, does use a oil and butter and all of that. But I think in the foods that at least my grandmother, remember my grandmother used to make, they're fairly well balanced. There's a lot of protein on the plate. There's a lot of starches on the plate. You have your spinach or okra on the side. That's your vegetables. It's always the portions are huge. I will say that the portions are ginormous, but I always find that it is, well balanced, and it's giving you your carbs for energy. It's giving you your protein for your
Right.
muscles. It's giving you your vegetables for your daily water or other nutrient source. So, but I do agree that the quality of the food has changed, and our lifestyles as a people have also changed. So I feel like there is a place holistic um, holistic treatments in how we treat sicknesses, and there is a place for our local foods. We just sort of have to adjust that to our
Mm.
current lifestyles because we're not living the way that they were.
That's true.
Those are some excellent points. I was gonna say, the bush tea also was one of the healing. Every morning you have to drink your bush tea. But you're
Okay.
right. They moved more than
Right.
I did, even with me, because I'm smidgen younger. Well, I'm younger, older than both of you. But even with me, um, as much as when I was younger, I moved more. One, because I didn't have a car. So, that was another reason I had to. And my parents didn't have a car. So we walked most of the places we had to go as teens and so forth. But
Mhm.
having a sedentary job for the most part, I sit most of the day, other than when I have an event or something, and then I'm actually doing the physical. So I do try to incorporate because I did want to make a difference with my lifestyle earlier. I did. As I said, I fell off the bandwagon because I realized the importance of starting young. Because as I mentioned last week, my dad is 97 years old. And it's only the past few years, maybe 2, 3 years, he's complaining about knee pain.
Mm.
And he doesn't do as much as he used to. I would say 3 years, but that's because now he wants to be outside doing a lot of the work that he's always known to do, the groundwork, doing the yard, cleaning it up, and so forth. So that one, the vitamin D from the sun,
Mm.
and then the nutrients from the soil. He always loves absorbing it because he's literally what those people that are always in the dirt. He
Mhm.
loves that dirt work, that groundwork, that yard work, that gardening, that keep your yard clean type thing. And because I live on an incline, I don't want him doing the yard work because I don't know what can happen. But we still butt heads because he still believes, even though his knees hurt, he should be doing some yard work. But I say all that to say, I always say, okay, I need to get it together. And you always figure you have time. You have time to get it together. You have time to get your health right. You have time. And there's a balance to that. It's never too late to start now.
Mm.
But sometimes because of what we may be suffering, it may be late, but we have to start. And you're right. The food isn't the same. And I went to uh, it was a Posh conference a couple weekends ago. And the one thing one of the naturalists was talking about, well, she's a farmer. She was talking about the importance of the soil, the nutrients from the soil. We need the nutrients to grow our products. So a lot of times people's like, you can start a garden anywhere, just throw the things out and it'll grow. And it may grow. Don't get me wrong, it may grow, but it's very important to have a good soil. And because
Mhm.
I know my dad, my mom, but mainly my dad was doing a lot of the yard work. He made sure the soil was toiled and, you know, did whatever it is that he did to make sure things grew very well. Because he would always say, even if I don't water it, my plants always grew, and his garden is always looking top of the line. So it does make a difference. It really does make a difference. But now things have changed, as Kiana mentioned. Our lifestyles have changed. So we're not more of the hustle that we have to be doing that physical labor, and we're now more sedentary, and we're in this different realm. What do you think? Well, I know we're just here doing reflections and giving our point of view based on our dynamics of the communities that we live or lived in. But what do you think some of the things can be added to that lifestyle to keep some of the old but merge it with the new?
That's a good question. Yeah. Um, I'm still in many ways. I love the old time treatments of, drinking bush tea, or even, putting turmeric and ginger in my tea and having it clean out my system. I prefer that over like modern day medications, because I'm not a visit the doctor type person. I don't really like that. Unfortunately, I've never had any medical, incident that needed to go into the hospital or anything. So I never was medicated, other than my sinuses, and even that I didn't take consistently, even throughout my teens. So I'm actually pro natural, herbs, and finding some kind of tea or a rub or something to fix my ailments. I would prefer that over modern day medications. But that's again just in the context of my own body, because I haven't had any medical issues to address. So I think for someone else who may have to, have hypertension or diabetes or whatever these things are, ailments that we get, we will have to, consult our doctors and get medicated. But I think even in the midst of that, one of the things that Dr. Waleed said, is like, bring to your doctor the mix of your home remedies plus your medications, so your doctor is aware of both.
Mhm.
So don't drink your medications and then drink garlic tea that is going to reduce your pressure, because I know this from my mother's experience, because my mother has hypertension and she drinks her medication, but then sometimes she drops the garlic tea on top of it, and that lowers the pressure way further than it should be. So then she's negatively impacting her body, because the doctor isn't aware that in between her medication she's also drinking this garlic tea. So if you're going to do a blend of any home remedy plus your medications, just let your doctor know. Be honest about it. I don't want to drink this much medication. I want to be able to mix this with my own remedies, and let's test it and see, because technically the doctor is also testing and seeing what works for you in the
That's why it's
medication,
called a practice.
right? So they're practicing on you. So include be transparent about it. Let your doctor know you want to have a more, holistic approach, like Kiana was mentioning earlier, to your health and your wellness, so that you're not alienating your own traditions and medical, things that you've grown up with that work. I mean, drink a soursop bush and you will sleep. You don't need to sleep. You don't necessarily, that's my opinion then. You don't need to drink sleeping pills. Soursop bush works for me, and I hope it works for someone else. Again, speak to your doctor about this. This is just what works for my body, right? But if I need to rest and I'm too, in my mind and busy, I drink soursop leaves and it works. Unfortunately, I can't get it readily in the Netherlands. So if anyone's coming to the Netherlands, my name is Crystal Legrand. Just
I was gonna say I could put some in the mail for you. I don't know when you're gonna get it, but I could mail it.
just come with some soursop leaves, and I'll meet you on the airport. Don't worry. But yes, that would be my tidbit on mixing those things and finding a balance. Yeah.
Mhm. I was gonna say, I think that there's a place for holistic remedies, but there's also a place for traditional medicine, like what you were mentioning in the case of your mother. And I feel like a lot of people, especially older people, have this distrust of the medical field, and for good reason, I would say, because historically in this country, the medical field hasn't been as kind and as caring and as thorough and as efficient with people of color and with women and with women of color. So I understand the hesitancy, but I think that it is also important for you to get, go to your annual physicals. Please go to your checkups. Don't wait until something is too late where you're bound to take medication for life.
Mhm.
Because one of, at least according to the National Library of Medicine, a study that's in there, one of the leading health issues in the Virgin Islands is diabetes. I know that the health fair, although it's not focused solely on diabetes, I know that that is a big focus and a big inspiration behind that. And that's, one of the top five leading health problems in the Virgin Islands is diabetes. I think it's number three according to this study. I'm looking at it right now. And it's only behind cancer and heart disease/stroke. So I feel like these are all things that unfortunately require medicine, but you can't know that you need it and you can't know that you have it until you go and you get your tests done and you get your checkups. So I think that that needs to be something that we focus on. And that's why I think that health fairs, free health fairs like this, and I know that the Department of Health put on a free health fair a few weeks ago. I think that that's why these things are so important. But even before we get to that level, I feel like back to the food conversation, I feel like we have so much good soil, as you were referring to, throughout the Virgin Islands. That's what I can speak for. That there has to be a greater focus on agriculture. We have lots of agriculturalists on island, on St. Thomas, on St. Croix. Maybe St. John has some. I just haven't heard of them. But I know that there are definitely some on St. Thomas and on St. Croix. They have the tools. They've been doing this forever. Their father taught them, their mom taught them, their grandparents taught them, and they don't have anyone to pass down this information to. So I think at some point there needs to be sort of, I don't know if this will be governmental interference or something to help boost the role of agriculture in our islands. Food's already expensive as it is. So why not invest in local agriculturalists? So not only are you feeding into the community financially, the community is giving back to you by giving you healthy people. And I think that that is something that I've been like saying forever and for years, obviously in my chamber of people in my life who also agree with me. But I think that we have so many resources that we are not taking advantage of on a larger scale. So I think investing in agriculture and teaching our people how to grow their own food and and understand what soil is best for what crops are giving you what nutrients you need for X, Y, and Z. How much portion control also is something that's important. You can still have your rice and peas and stewed chicken and whatever, but there's no reason that the rice needs to take up half the plate. And so I think
Really?
I was just gonna say the same thing. Like, really?
rice and peas. I do, but I think that to each their own. Some people who are doing more intensive work might need more carbs, so you give them more rice. If you sit down all day, you're not gonna need all that. You cut it down a little bit. You up the fats, you up the proteins, and you up the vegetables. There are different things that people need for whatever their bodily and health needs are. And I think that once we teach that, and once we teach how food can be medicine before you get sick, I think that that'll help in the long run so people don't have to rely on medications, so that our rates for heart disease, stroke, and cancer and diabetes can all be on the decline, because we understand what certain foods do for us, and we understand how our local foods, what we can grow here, how that can benefit us.
Yeah, those are some excellent points. And you're right about, years ago, I don't know if you remember, I used to listen to this guy on a Sunday about let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. It was a podcast. He was a pastor, and he just used to talk about what this food and what this thing would do for your body. But at the end of the day, as Kiana mentioned, it's what works for you. every body type is not the same. It's not across the board. What's good for me may not be good for you. And even though those natural remedies are good and are great, it may not be good or great for you. So we need to pay attention to our bodies. We need to pay attention to how foods make us feel. I can speak on that because I have celiac, no wheat, no soy, no dairy. It's no nuts. A lot of time it's challenging if I go out or I'm trying to be entertained and the entertainment is food because my eating is limited. And I know, how is your eating limited and you're now on the journey of trying to lose weight again? Because I've found things I can have and I overindulge.
Yeah, what you like, and what you can
What I
eat,
like, I like.
abundance.
What I can have, I can have. But on a serious note, though, and this isn't a doctor. This is just based on my experience. I have paid attention to how certain foods make me feel, how my body feels with it. And that was one of the reasons why I was able to help the doctor diagnose me with celiac, because of how certain foods made my body feel and what I saw and the flare-ups and the swollen joints and the pain and I couldn't move and the stomach cramps, and when I eat nuts, the massive headaches, the blurry vision. Oh yes, all of that. When I eat dairy, the nausea, the stomach turning, and it just goes on and on. But you have to pay attention to your body. Does it raise your mood? And even foods that I can have that are fine for me to eat, I realize I can't eat a lot of it because it changes my mood. So we really have to pay attention to what we're consuming and what it is. I mean, small community or not, we all are in this life to live our best lives, and health truly is our real, true independence. That's the wealthiest thing that we can have. That's the most thing of value any of us can have, is our health. And the one thing I would say about health fairs, as we were speaking about last week, it's not the cure all. It won't help someone that doesn't have money to go to the doctor, or would cure necessarily the white coat syndrome, but it can help you start to have a relationship and learning how to ask questions and seeing other people around you, and maybe strike up a conversation for a next person that's coming to this health fair. And not that you're divulging, oh, my toe feel like it's falling off, my hand hurt to me, you don't have to go through that long thing and divulge your personal information, but just have a conversation, because they may be able to help you have that conversation when you go into the health fair and you're going to have your cholesterol, glucose, and your pressure tested. Things that you can do, relaxing makes a difference, and, taking a deep breath. And then when you go through the path of seeing a doctor, and then they have, at this health fair that's coming up, they have an emotional wellness team. And as I said last week, that is my favorite, because working on your mental health can definitely help with your overall physical health. It really makes a difference. Because when we spoke to Dr. Carrie Williams, she spoke about how trauma causes ailments. We may not see it now, but we see it later down. And that's with the pressure and the diabetes, and can't let go of certain things because our body is storing all of this hurt. And that could be one of the triggers. So it's, this mini health fair is an excellent idea, and all the health fairs is an excellent idea to start you trying to have that relationship with a healthcare provider. And the more you do them, the more that we can say, okay, yes, let me go to this health fair. Maybe I can find out this or that. And, they said this health fair that's coming up is from 10 to 3 at UVI Innovation Center, which is the old West Bay supermarket. And the one thing that they're doing this year, they're having prostate testing. I can't speak about a man, but I do know the importance about having a prostate test. And I've heard stories and jokes about why a man will or will not want to have a prostate exam. But I will say this, if something that is so serious that can save your life, and it takes a couple minutes and someone is willing to sit down and talk to you for free, take advantage of that, because the end results could be costly. So let's start with the free. Take as much as you can for free. And
Yes.
it's a free health fair. The health fairs have been free. And I will say it's been like an influx of health fairs here in the Virgin Islands. And people may say, another health fair again? Yeah, because someone may not have been able to get to that last one because of the time or the day of the week that it's been. And now this one is on a Saturday. So those that don't work on a Saturday or are able to get off, come on down to that health fair. Be ready to have conversations that make you uncomfortable.
Right. And I think one thing that I would like to add, also something that I saw in this research in the National Library of Medicine, is that one of the concerns, and I think that this is something not even from a patient's perspective, but something that needs to be handled from a healthcare provider's perspective, whether you're a doctor or a nurse, is that one of the leading concerns for people, at least in the US Virgin Islands, are privacy and threats to confidentiality.
Yes, trust.
In such a small space, you hear when you're in the waiting rooms, sometimes, not always, you hear how some medical professionals are speaking about their patients loudly and sharing business. And sometimes people don't want to have to deal with that. You're in a small community. There are only so many Sarahs, Jans, Anns, Marys in
That's
either
right.
proximity. So some people fear that their personal information may be given out knowingly or unknowingly to someone else. People get WhatsApp messages and pictures all the time from, people on the scene of a medical incident. First of all, HIPAA violation. Second of all, that's a real serious concern and a real major barrier that is stopping people from getting the health care that they need. So I think that events like this are so incredibly important. And I think that everyone should, if it's free, take advantage of it, especially if it benefit your health. But I do think that there needs to be an effort by medical professionals as well to make sure that confidentiality is one of the top priorities to make their patients feel comfortable, to make their patients open up more to them about, the medications they're taking, the natural remedies they're doing, the food that they're eating. Whatever, you have to be fully transparent with a doctor, and it's hard to be transparent with someone that you don't trust. So I think at some extent, we both have to do the heavy lifting on both ends so that we can come up with a way to better our community health-wise. And I kind of wanted to, before I forget, piggyback off of what you were saying, Ma, about prostate checks specifically, is that I know that a lot of people might think that, prostate cancer is not that serious, it's not that big of a deal, blah, 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 it's just prostate cancer. Although prostate cancer in and of itself may not be deadly, prostate cancer unchecked can cause other cancers. It can cause other health issues to pop up, which can be deadly. So wouldn't you want to nip that in the bud early on, so that way you don't develop all these other cancers, you don't develop all these other ailments? Although you might be thinking, this is fine, the repercussions of that is not. So if you have to be a little bit uncomfortable, I'm sorry to say it the way that I'm going to say it, but you're just going to have to get over it. Get over it. You're going to the doctor. You don't think the doctor has seen a prostate before? The doctor knows what a penis looks like. Cool. Okay? Like, you have to calm down and you have to get over it, because your health is so much more important than your discomfort. You think women like having pap smears? That's awful. There has to be a better way to do that. That's a whole other tangent. I'm not even.
That's what I was gonna say. That's a whole other topic, but you're right. There has to be another way to do that. And a mammogram.
Or worse yet, mammograms. Oh my goodness!
Like, what is that?
What is that?
Anyway.
This is like cruel and unusual torture.
It's a torture device. But you have to go through these uncomfortable things for the long-term benefit of your health. of not
Yes.
only living a long life, but living a long and fulfilling life, a life that you can remember, a life that you can move in, a life that you can, experience to its fullest for as long as you are on this side of the earth, So I think that a mix of doctors making their patients feel comfortable by abiding to confidentiality and patients just simply getting over their discomfort, which is easier said than done. But we're adults, so you gotta do it.
And you're right. You just totally hit the nail on the head, the gavel on the everything. We we have to get over that, and it starts with our mind. We have to sometimes don't mind our mind and our insecurities and do what needs to be done. But the trust factor, that's a huge factor, especially in a small community. It is so big, and I know a lot of people tend to go away to get their health care. They build a relationship elsewhere because at the end of the day, they don't know me. They don't
It's so
know
cute
you.
that you guys are saying that. We had there was a time there was like this scandal going on in St. Martin. Like every time you went to the lab, people thought you were testing for AIDS, because AIDS was this rampant at a certain time, and people would screenshot you like, "Oh, what were you doing in the lab?" And I'm like, that's such a bad, and this was just community members. And you live on a small island, everybody knows everybody. So people are screenshotting prominent people just going for lab tests. And it's like, allow people to take care of themselves. I mean, like, really, do we need to be sharing that so and so went to the lab? Like, why? So you're in the waiting room and people are violating your privacy. They see you by the gynecologist and they're spreading rumors about you, and it's like, why? As island people, we should do better. Just generally, we just need to do better in terms of taking one bit of information and then making it into God knows what after
narrative.
We have to do better with that narrative.
People taking these pictures, are they not also by the lab?
Thank you. They're at the hospital for a reason. Okay. You know what I mean? But
misery likes company.
Yes,
I guess. But surely, I think in the islands, it's so easy. We see it across many fields, legal fields, and in medical fields, it's even worse. If one person has an ailment, worst case scenario, I'm using AIDS as an example, but any health issue, it's so easily spread within small communities. Because only one person needs to hear about it, and then that's it. The whole world knows you have something going on. Yes. And, people have the gall in the Caribbean as well to feel like as if they can come to even you to approach you about it. Like, I heard you were, this and this, right? Yeah, I see your eyes. Camilla, like, no, seriously, in the Caribbean, we feel like we can talk to each other about anything. We can, I hear you were sick the other day. What was going on with you? And it's like, excuse, I didn't realize that my health conditions were up for conversation. We don't respect each other's privacies at all, just in general, it's interesting.
Nosy. Is what they are. I'm nosy too. I can't even say anything. But I don't ask those questions.
I nosy if the information comes to me and I'm like, oh wow, okay, I didn't know that, blah blah blah. But I ain't going to ask the person like, hey, unless I know you, that's a different case. But if I don't really, I just know you in passing, I'm not bringing up your mental, your health or your mental health, even worse. I'm definitely not bringing that up, But yeah, I feel in the Caribbean we have a certain island life or conversation that is a free for all in some cases, and worse yet for our leaders, because then their information is just up for conversation.
And I think that's a really good point, how taking care of your physical health in that way might actually negatively impact your emotional well-being because of how people act, because of how people are treating you. Because if I'm just at the lab trying to do some blood work to make sure that all my levels are good, and people are taking pictures of me and be like, oh, she's getting tested for AIDS. I wouldn't want to go back ever again. And then I
Tell me
would
about
not only be impacting my health, I would be like traumatized that everyone who's looking around me, even if they glance at me, do these people think I have XYZ? Not that there should be any shame if you do have that, but it should be up to you to divulge that information. You shouldn't have to be having your neck on a swivel thinking that everyone in the world thinks that you have something that you don't have, or thinking that you have something that you're not ready to share yet with other people. And that can send people into a spiral. So
that is very true. But and also to go on to that, the fact that you should be tested for that. You should be tested for HIV/AIDS and all other STDs. You should be tested so you can know what your numbers are, so you can know what your status is, so you can know how to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
So it's sad that someone is taking something that is good for you to do as negative and demonizing it to make it seem like it's a bad thing for you to be doing what it takes to take care of your health. Because you're not going to know what to do if you don't know what to do, if you don't know what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
And even at this upcoming health fair, they do have HIV testing, and there's a minivan for it. And everyone should take advantage of it. Why? It's free.
Yeah.
It's
but
free.
It's just this mentality
STDs.
that if you're testing for it, you might be living a certain life.
Yeah. It just means that if you've had sex with one person, you can't know where they've been or what they've been doing. They can tell you something, but you can't know for sure. So it doesn't matter if you had sex with one person or 100 people. You need to get tested. HIV and STDs in general are so rampant in the Virgin Islands. There is a growing trend of people who are getting not just HIV, but STDs in general because of a stigma around testing, because people don't want to use condoms, because people don't have sex education, whatever. This is an issue that's already here. This isn't something that it can come. This isn't something that we have to prepare for. This is an issue that is already here. So the best thing for us to do is to take the shame out of the testing. You can't know what to fix if you don't test for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you a lesser person. It doesn't make you a bad person. I understand that there might be shame or whatever behind that, as valid or invalid as someone may think that shame is. I think that understanding where you are and understanding your health is a lot more important than what other people say. Easier said than done, because you have to live with the emotional repercussions of the people around you. But I just think that, would you rather live a shame-free life and die of something that you could have been treated for, or just remove those people from your life?
Yeah.
I think that you have to, in these instances, you have to put yourself first.
Yeah.
You do. And I don't even know where to begin. I don't know if it's the media. I don't know if it's the small mind about stigma in being sick and stigma in being ill. When we first heard about things like cancer, it's like, oh, they have cancer. And it is horrible. Don't get me wrong. It is horrible. But there's so many other ways to approach it. So, I mean, even though it's sometimes the sentence of death, sometimes if you approach it with a different mindset, it can help you as part of your treatment. Because a lot of times with the diagnosis that may happen, they said your mental part of it is 80% of the healing.
Yeah.
And that's with everything. Your mental frame of mind is the lead as to how you're going to deal with it.
Yeah.
So we have to change the narrative. We have to change the story, one person at a time, and welcome these health fairs. Welcome these opportunities to be our best selves. Welcome these opportunities for us to take our lives in our hands, to take us from where we are to where we need to be. And if it means going to 6 miniature health fairs where the service is free and you get what you need, do it. Free is good.
Do it every
Free is good. Free is good. It's an opportunity to open the door because even for persons like myself, when I was back home, I didn't necessarily have medical insurance because I was a sole proprietor. And in my country, because you're a sole entrepreneur, you needed to get private insurance, and it was just expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the funds at the time to take out a private insurance, which was thousands of dollars on myself. So I just went a long time without, getting tested or anything else. And fortunately, by God's grace, that I wasn't sick either. But if there's an opportunity for me to get tested, I did all of those. I did the HIV testing when the AIDS Foundation was having it. I did the mammograms when the breast cancer awareness people were having their free screenings. You utilize the opportunities that are available in your community, and even in small communities, that's one of the things that where that's a benefit that we have organizations that show up in our community and provide these types of services. And to Kiana's point, we need to normalize getting tested and take away this stigma around it. It is more important for you to take care of yourself. And not only that, take care of the people that you love. Because if you do have something, you're impacting another person's life unbeknownst to them. And that's a big thing. You're not only impacting yourself, and whether it's an STD for whatever, if it's a STD, it's impacting that person's life directly. But even if you get sick, you're impacting your family's life regardless. So if you're going to get, if you unfortunate to get breast cancer, that impacts everybody around you, because people have to take care of you in some instances. If you're going to, let's catch diseases early. Let's treat things early. Let's get tested early. Let's take care of ourselves so that we don't end up, in stage 4 cancer because we just never checked. Just because of one 30-minute screening that you could have went to for free on top of that, utilize these opportunities as much as we can to protect ourselves and the people around us. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I suggest that everyone go out this coming weekend to that free health fair, and make your life better. It's about you. It's truly about you. And as Crystal said, it's about you and your loved ones, your village, those that are around you, because your health does impact someone else's well-being, someone else's frame of mind, because they may have to end up being your caretaker.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot. Being a caretaker, no matter how much you love that person, it is a lot.
It is.
It is a lot. So let's take stock. Do it for yourself. Do it for me. My health, I'm doing it this month because, hey, I'm starting. Doing whatever it takes. I'm moving my body. Going to be, yes, at the health fair in more than one aspect. I'm going to be assisting a volunteer there, but I'm also going to take advantage of everything that I can because I'm there and it's free.
Yes.
So come on out to the health fair. And before we wrap up, Crystal, give us some closing remarks as to talk about doing what it takes. I know that we went through and said a lot, and this was really a good, insightful conversation as to small communities and health fairs and just health awareness in itself.
Yeah. In my closing remark, I think I'm going to spin back right to what Kiana said at the beginning was in terms of our lifestyles right now. And that's why I kind of brought up this, the health walk. We live, at least for me, I live in front of my computer more than 10 hours a day, every single day. So movement isn't a part of my day-to-day activities. I have to be intentional in, going out for a walk or, doing any form of movement. And one of the things, and this was years ago, my house doctor had said to me was, park the car further than, take the furthest parking spot from the supermarket so that you end up walking to the door as opposed to parking right in front of the door so that you have the convenience of, just walking straight into the supermarket. Or, so make certain things a bit more inconvenient. So, well, when I say inconvenient, um, put walking and movement, just embed it into your life as opposed to trying to exercise and get up and go to the gym. That might not fit your life. Just when I think about, because I now live in the Netherlands, I have to get dressed, I have to leave the house, I got to catch the metro, go to the gym. That's already about, let's say, call it a half an hour to do that, and then there's a half an hour back home. When I start to program how much time in my day is going to take away just for me to get to the gym, to walk on a treadmill for a half an hour or whatever it is, or do some cardio exercise or Zumba or whatever it is, it might just be too much for some days in my life. But what I can do is, if I'm going to the grocery store, park a little further. Or if I'm in the house, I can stretch a bit and do some yoga. So trying to find ways to embed, movement into your own life, however that works for you, I think is the best way to get started. And that's something that I am trying to practice more and more. And again, pinning back to the Health Awareness Weekend, they also have a walk and it's free and you can come out to that. So, as the last promotion for the health fair, maybe you might want to join a community in your small community and not do it alone, and go out and find opportunities. I'm sure there are marathons in your city. I'm sure there are activities going on. Join some of those activities if you like doing, certain activities in a group, because sometimes doing it alone could be a bit boring. But if you have the opportunity, do that with a company, find a, accountability partner, however it works for you. Just get moving so that we can all be healthier. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Uh,
Gianna?
I want to piggyback off of all of that. I think that all of that was really great and really great advice to tailor things to you. I think that and to add to that, I feel like people get so ambitious, which there's nothing wrong with ambition, but I feel like people are just like, I'm gonna switch my life 180 today. I'm gonna not do any bad habits that I've been doing for my entire life, and I'm just gonna be the healthiest person who's ever lived starting today. And I feel like, love that for you. Love having a goal, but that's just not realistic. And you're setting yourself up for failure. I think a big part of the health journey, at least for me, as someone who has gained and lost a bunch of weight, I think that what has worked for me is sort of trying to take the pressure off myself. Yes, paying attention to portion control, counting calories, to each their own. It is annoying. It's too much work. I don't like it, but I do it anyways. That might not be your ministry, or it might be. But I think watching what you eat, actually paying attention to what you eat, even if you don't count calories consistently, do it for like a week. Do it for like a week to understand how portion control actually works. After that, you don't have to do it again. But I just think that understanding what you're putting into your body, how much of it you're putting into your body versus what you need, is incredibly important. But also being forgiving to yourself. You don't know what you don't know. And even once you do know it, you're going to slide back and that's all progress. Progress is not a straight line. You're not going to continue doing up. There are going to be some ups and some dips and some ups and some dips. As long as it's trending in the positive, you're fine. Forgive yourself. It's okay. If you slide back a little bit, it's okay. If this week you didn't work out as much as you should have been, hi, yes, hello. It's okay. Forgive yourself. A week of you being sedentary is not going to throw off all the progress that you've made. And once you forgive yourself, you have such faster recovery in simply moving forward. Instead of dwelling on what you didn't do, you're like, damn, I haven't worked out in 2 weeks. I should probably do that. And just do it. Take all the guilt and the shame out of it, because you're setting yourself up for failure. So just, be a little bit more forgiving with yourself is what I would say. And just pay attention, at least for 1 week, to what it is you're eating and how much of it you're eating. And if you like to eat a lot like me, figure out how you can still cut those big old plates of food that aren't like 1,000 calories each. It is possible. It takes time, but it is possible because I love to eat, but I still need to be in a certain space. So those will be my closing words.
Love it. I love it. And yes, let's take the shame out of it. Let's take the shame out of taking care of your health, because I think that's one of the biggest things. I don't want anyone to know. Sometimes I don't want to know. Let's take the shame out of it. Do what it takes. If there's a health fair or any opportunity for you to take those steps to take care of you so you could be the better you for yourself, your family, your friends, your community, do what it takes. You are so worthy of it. You are worth it. Do it. I really enjoyed this conversation. It was really a freeing conversation, and having good health or knowing what you're dealing with is freeing, so you can know where you are, so where you can be. So take advantage of the upcoming health fairs and the health walk. Move your body, know your numbers, at least your beginning numbers, and it's a win-win. Because you know what to do.
Health fair, take care of yourself.
And even without the health fair, take care of yourself. Make that a long-term lifestyle. A lot of times we want to do diets. And as Kiana said, it doesn't always work. But let's find something that works and make it a lifestyle. But grace in changing your lifestyle is the number one thing. That's the first thing you need to do. Have grace, then you work on changing your lifestyle. Because once you forgive and you can be lenient on yourself, it will keep you going, it will keep you motivated, and that will move you to do everything you need to do. Ladies, thank you so much. This was a great conversation. I truly enjoyed this conversation and look forward to many more. And you guys continue to celebrate my birthday month. Do what it takes to take care of you. That is my mantra for the month of July. Do what it takes to take care of you. And as always, stay blessed on purpose. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Your dream come to life. That is the mission behind Kiki Creations. We're more than a decorating service. We put our all into taking in every detail of your vision and transforming that into breathtaking events. Whether you're celebrating a wedding, retirement, throwing a massive gala, or having an intimate dinner, let Kiki Creations create the moment of your dreams. Celebrate love, laughter, and the moments that really matter with Kiki Creations.